gentlemen, CPS Boxing News Inc. Right here con Benjamin Hussain, one of the boxers that eventually is gonna turn pro pretty soon. How you feeling? You know, welcome to New York. I mean, how's everything?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, really enjoying my time here in New York. You know, top rank have looked after Tarik and me and Frank, the other coach, really well. It's a pleasure to be here. You know, we're enjoying soaking everything up, all of these moments. And again, you know, I'm having my first ever interview, so I'm just enjoying this time. Thank you very much.
Hey,
for being my first ever interview.
Hey, man, thank you. It's an honor, you know, to be part of your history in boxing, also from over here, the champ as well, because eventually boxing is a pretty much, you know, beautiful sport, I would say so, because that trains you, you know, mentally, physically, and all different aspects. Talking about that, you know, I just, you know, requested an interview from, you know, your partner and everything like that. How was for you, you know, going in Tijuana, Mexico, that, you know, eventually you have an experience there, you know, sparring, you know, some of the Mexican fighters? What's your, you know, experience of that? Can you talk about it?
Yeah, so, you know, initially I went to Mexico during the pandemic. I just escaped all, like, the craziness and things like that. And Mexico, obviously, you know, is historically known as the most exciting and feared boxing nation and boxers in the world. And for me, that was something that I just loved the style. And in England, you know, we have, well, in Britain, let's say, including Ireland as well, we have very, very good boxers, and have had very good boxers throughout history. But I feel like our style is a little bit negative, and it's great for 4 or 5 rounds. And, you know, as has happened a number of times recently with Mexicans going over to England and upsetting the odds, you know, eventually that fire, it gets too much for the English fighters, because they're not used to it, and yeah, I guess it's incredible that I get to experience that. I'm honoured to share the ring with these Mexican warriors, to be honest.
Wow, amazing. Tell us about the story, you know, excuse me, tell us about the difference, you know, being in Mexico and also, you know, in the UK, because I know, you know, your roots probably, you know, they're there in the UK, but eventually, you just mentioned, you know, due to the pandemic, you know, we skipped on all of that, you know, and you went all over Mexico and then started training there. How was the experience, you know, from both places? Can you break it down for us?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're very, very different, of course. The weather being the most different. I enjoy the hot weather, which was another reason why I went to Mexico, aside from the boxing, was to escape the British winters. So I'm fortunate enough that I still get to experience both, because I go back to England in the summers for work commitments and to see friends and family. You know, that is one thing that is not obviously ideal, being away from, you know, your friends and your family. You know, my mom, my dad, my brother, always away from them. But at the same time, I'm young-ish and exploring the world and trying to get new life experiences. Of course, in Mexico, the food is great. It's hot weather most of the time. In TJ, it's pretty cold in the winters. But yeah, I mean, it's polar opposite. I'm really enjoying learning the language. You know, that's something that was another reason why I went there, was to learn Spanish, because I fell in love with the language when I was traveling South America. And yeah, the vibe, you know, what I would say is it seems very similar whenever I'm in Mexico. And a lot of the times, you know, especially distant chatter, I couldn't understand everything, but it's always laughter and jokes. You know, same in the gym, same if you're walking past a group of construction workers. It's always laughing and joking, and the same thing goes in England. You know, we're very much a humorous nation. We're always having jokes, and I feel like that is very similar, and I guess it also helps whilst we're there, because we're always cracking jokes. Sometimes I don't understand them in Spanish, but, you know, I have to laugh. But yeah.
After a little while, and then you started, you know, find out, you know, what's the meaning of that word, and what's, you know, that meaning from the other word, and then later on, you know, you capitalize, and then you get this knowledge from that word, and then you be like, oh, he's saying this, he's saying that, and little by little, you know, how, you know, eventually a camello, it's already, you know, that got nicknamed, you know, by, you know, people that they mention him, and that specific, you have a type of nickname that eventually you want to pick it up from Mexico, or you just want to pick it up from anywhere else, you know, like Probably it's going to be in Spanish, probably it's going to be in English. Are you choosing any type of nickname, or is there anything that the Mexican people, they already called you probably El Güero?
El Güero. So, yeah, exactly. I was going to say Güero. You know, the Mexicans, they're very, very free speaking, and yeah, I'm a white boy. It's strange actually because I'm not 100% white. So when I'm in England, you know, I'm not the white boy. I'm the tanned or the coloured one, depending on where I am. You know, I'm light to most people in England still, but yeah, I'm not white. So it's funny when I actually get called white boy because I'm like, oh, okay, that's new to me because I've always, you know, I'm not being mixed heritage. You know, I'm not welcome by anywhere. Similar to Tarik, you know, I'm a man of the world. I feel at home everywhere I go.
Hey, it's amazing.
But I would love a Spanish nickname. You know, Zona Norte boys haven't named me yet, actually, apart from Benjamin or Benja is what Navarrete called me, and his cousin and his team Navarrete. Just want to say big up to Team Navarrete, they're top G's, and they call me Benja, and I actually like Benja, so.
That's amazing. I mean, pretty sure, you know, you're gonna come out something, you know, once you turn pro, in order that, you know, maybe people will be amazed, you know, and surprised when they hear something in Spanish, and then, you know, with all due respect to you, anyone out there, you know, you look white and all that, and they're gonna be like Spanish. Like, first thing, you know, my impression when I hear the camel, you know, el camello, I'll be like, is he Spanish, or why he picked it up, you know, that type of nickname? But it's, you know, kind of entertaining also as well, because, and then you feel that, you know, the crowd of, you know, from Spanish that he already gained in Tijuana and all of that, that's gonna, you know, it's gonna be for you, you know, supporters and all of that. And, you know, what can I say? Wish you nothing but the best. Talking about England, I know recently we saw, you know, experience, you know, Alexander Usyk, you know, defeat Tyson Fury. But there, you know, it was AJ, and I know DanielDubois, you know, they've been trying to fight each other. So what's your thoughts if this fight happens, AJ versus DanielDubois?
I think it's a really good fight. I would say Dubois actually reminds me of an AJ early in his career because he's still very raw. But interestingly enough, I mean, I was telling Tarik, you know, any fighter that has left the ring after fighting Usyk has improved, and you could see in the fight with Usyk both actual men improving, especially AJ Usyk too. You know, you watch that fight, Usyk started moving his head. Next thing you know, AJ's like rolling, and we call it you got a heel, like doing U's, and you know, you never really saw AJ moving his head. I just think at this point now, AJ will be too strong for him, too schooled. But it's an interesting fight, you know. It's heavyweight boxing, so it can go any way. But I favour AJ. I think I favour AJ at the moment. I've gone full swing because I did tip that Fury's going to reign the heavyweight division, or at least ahead of Joshua. To my friends, and now I actually think at this moment in time I favour AJ to beat Fury at this moment in time. If you go back a little while, Fury was unbeatable. He's taking his eye off the ball a little. When you've got 100 mils each fight, it's hard to stay focused, you know, and everyone is blowing smoke up your ass. You know, that's difficult to stay.
Especially. Tarik, for you, now we're jumping on you. What's your thoughts on DuBois? You know, if he happens to face, you know, AJ.
I mean, look, I always say, when you lose, your career goes either to the sewers or to the clouds. Because a loss makes you or breaks you. There's literally no twos about it. And Dubois got such a roasting from media because they said he quit. But look, man, like Benjamin said, when they fight Usyk, clearly something changes. It's like when Canelo fought Floyd. Got a new Canelo. I feel like that's Dubois right now. I'm going to give a different prediction to Benjamin. If Dubois is young, and man, that last fight, he showed that he doesn't care anymore. He's in his head. He's got that warrior mentality of, look, I don't care. I'm going at you to try and knock you out, and that's a dangerous guy.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, where AJ, yeah, absolutely, AJ is a beast after the Usyk fights, but still, AJ took more of a beatings than Dubois did in his career, and there's more wear and tear in AJ than there is in Dubois. So for me, I think Dubois will shock the world when him and AJ clash. But it all goes down to Dubois. If Dubois respects AJ too much, I feel like AJ will capitalize on that. But if Dubois goes in with the mentality he did against Hrgovic, I promise you he takes AJ out. We all know AJ's got a suspect chin. And Dubois might clip him, man, you don't know.
You don't know.
You know what I mean?
That's
so
an
yeah.
intriguing fight that hopefully, you know, happens in the future. Hopefully, you know, it doesn't take too long, because eventually, when we wanted to see this type of fight, that was AJ versus Wilder.
Oh, amazing fight, man.
For some reason, never happened.
And we're gonna live with it now till the end of time, just like Riddick Bowe versus Lewis, just like the great legendary fights that should have happened in the heavyweight division but didn't. And this is one of them now. Wilder, AJ, when it should have happened, man. Oh man, to this day I still don't know. To this day I still don't know who I could predict on that win, man. You know?
Everyone is still expecting for you, Benjamin. You know, what's your thoughts? You know that we never got to see this fight, AJ versus Wilder, because, you know, I feel like a lot of people that were, you know, expecting this fight, and I'm still, you know, one of the, you know, fans. I can say that I won this fight, you know, regardless, you know, like if he has title or not, with all due respect to AJ, Wilder, you know, both warriors, you know. But, you know, what's your thoughts, you know, on this fight that never happened, you know? Hopefully we get to see it. We don't know if that's gonna happen. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the moment the fight is pretty much dead in the water. Wilder would need to at least come back with a win, I think, before that fight. I mean, they could make it, but people are going to watch it, but it's not a very good fight. It's a shame that it didn't happen. I think at that point, boxers were, you know, Floyd Mayweather changed the game with losses, and having a loss on your record, it was the worst thing in the world. Now I feel like in the last couple of years that some big notable fighters have taken losses, and they're a bit more willing now. Because look, a loss doesn't need to define you. It doesn't need to, I mean, you're finished. You know, until you've lost in life, you can't. How can you come back stronger? How can you improve? And you know, this was one of the blessings that Tarik took in the last fight. You know, because if he would have scraped through that fight or won that fight, you know, we would have been thinking, okay, he's untouchable, and then would anyone been able to say anything to him? Oh, Tarik, do you think you could do this? Do you think you could do this? You know, we all have ways to improve, and I just feel like Wilder, AJ, it was down to money, a little bit of fear of losing their O, I would say. I would say, yeah, 50-50, you know, the fear of losing their O and what would happen if, oh, we lost. And then of course greedy promoters and boxers, and it spoiled one of probably the best heavyweight fights of history. We look at what every fight Wilder's in is entertaining. Look, his 3 fights with Fury have got to be up there. It's got to be up there with the best trilogy of all time. You know, it's a shame, big shame.
It is. I agree with you. Hopefully, you know, that, like I said, if it happens, you know, it's not gonna be the same, because we would love to see, you know, in their peak, you know, both of them, because they were in their prime. In their prime, when, you know, AJ was in his prime, Deontay Wilder in his prime, both of them having titles, and that would be, you know, exciting to see who will, you know, take the title from who. But eventually, politics, things like that, I don't know, you know, what went wrong, but. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still an exciting fight and everything like that, but only the time will speak if it, you know, we'll see this fight happen, maybe. We don't know. Talking about, you know, that fight, you know, eventually let them know, the fight fans, you know, when it's going to be your fight, or when you might think that it's planning, you know, to turn pro. And
So I'll be making my debut on the 22nd of June, in 2 weeks tomorrow, in Tijuana, Mexico. I'm super excited. It's been a long time coming. You know, I'm just grateful, and I just want to get in there and fight. You know, I'm not here for any thrills or anything like that. You won't see any outlandish behaviour in press conferences, but you will see violence and war when I fight, and that's what I want to. You know, I started boxing because I watched Gatti Ward. And then I was like, wow, I want to be these guys. That's who I want to be, one of those. My dream is to at the end of a fight, get to the hospital and pull the curtain and see my opponent there, and we've been like through wars, and then we're best friends for life. That is a dream. So let's see who becomes that best friend of mine. Whoever, you know, any man born from his mother can have it, and I don't mind fighting anyone. Again, I'm not scared of losing. You know, if I have to take a risky fight straight after this one, a live opponent, 50-50, let's go. Even if I'm an underdog, let's go. I'll fight. I'm not fighting for anything other than enjoyment. I love the sport, and I love the fighting ultimately.
It's exactly what I was just gonna say. You know, it's a sport, it's a gentleman's sport, and eventually, you know, I can tell you that, you know, the world is expecting you, you know, because you definitely, you're training hard, you won this, and you just mentioned, you know, you're ready for whatever comes, whatever bright light brings you, and you're ready for it. So we will stay tuned, you know, check it out, guys. You know, Benjamin with us, and our man over here, El Camello, with us too, from Tijuana, Mexico.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.